The most talked about booty in Black Hollywood. Stop scrolling because this is the side of Black Hollywood they never teach you in interviews. For years, the most talked about curves in the culture weren't just beauty. They became headlines, trends, and even controversies that shaped entire careers. From Nicki Minaj's shockwave impact to Cardi B's fearless takeover, these women didn't just break the internet, they broke the rules. But behind the viral moments is a bigger story about power pressure and who really controls the spotlight. If you're ready for the truth behind the talk, hit like, subscribe, and comment. Who do you think owned the era the hardest? Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj didn't just enter Black Hollywood, she reprogrammed it. When people talk about the most talked about booty in Black Hollywood, her name rises fast because she turned curves into a headline, a brand, and a pop culture moment. From music videos to red carpets, Nicki's silhouette became instantly recognizable, and the conversation around it wasn't accidental, it was strategy. She understood that in an industry that loves to label Black women, the boldest move is to own the label first, then flip it into power. What makes Nicki different is how she fused that image with undeniable impact. She didn't rely on looks to carry her, she brought bars, characters, and theatrical confidence that made every era feel like an event. The result, historic numbers that can't be argued with Nicki Minaj, has earned 149 Billboard Hot 100 entries and 23 top 10 hits, placing her among the most dominant women in chart history. That's why her talked-about status lasts, because the attention always came with a soundtrack the world couldn't ignore. Do you think Nicki's image empowered Black women to feel confident? Or did it pressure the industry to chase one specific body standard? And that's where the real debate lives. For some fans, Nicki became a symbol of freedom, loud, unapologetic, and fearless, in a space that often demands Black women tone it down. For others, she represents how fast the culture can turn a woman's body into a trend, a meme, or a marketing tool. Nicki didn't invent that spotlight, but she mastered it, using attention like fuel instead of letting it burn her. Whether you loved the aesthetic or questioned it, you still had to admit she controlled the room. Today, her influence is everywhere, from viral rap stars to fashion-forward performers who build their identity around confidence and curves. Nicki Minaj helped make booty talk part of mainstream entertainment, but she also proved something deeper. Being discussed isn't the same as being dismissed. In Black Hollywood, she became the blueprint for turning controversy into currency, and the world is still following her footsteps. Cardi B. Cardi B didn't just join the conversation, she hijacked it. Her name stays in the spotlight because she turned curves into a full-on cultural event, from viral social media beginnings to red carpet domination. People talked about her body, her fashion, and her fearless confidence. But what made Cardi unforgettable wasn't just the attention. It was the way she turned that attention into momentum. She doesn't walk into a room quietly. She arrives like a headline you can't scroll past, and that energy made her one of the most discussed women in entertainment. What separates Cardi from the rest is how she backed the image with real, undeniable success. In 2019, she won Best Rap Album at the Grammys for Invasion of Privacy, becoming the first solo female rapper to win that category. That wasn't luck, it was impact. She's also known for high-energy performances and bold style choices that become instant talking points, proving she understands the modern era, where every camera angle can turn into a viral moment. Cardi also represents a bigger cultural shift. She's praised for owning her body and refusing to be shamed, but she's also proof of how fast the internet can turn a woman into non-stop debate. Every outfit, every pose, every performance gets analyzed like breaking news. Cardi learned the rules early: attention is currency, and if you control the narrative, you control the outcome. She didn't wait to be accepted. She forced the culture to adapt to her with humor, confidence, and blunt honesty that fans connect with. Her influence is visible across music and celebrity culture, inspiring younger artists to embrace boldness and authenticity without apology. Cardi helped push body confidence into the mainstream, but she also showed the world that the real power isn't in being perfect, it's in being unforgettable. Love her or criticize her, the truth stays the same. She didn't become famous because people talked. People talked because she made it impossible not to. Megan Thee Stallion. Megan Thee Stallion became one of the most talked about women in Black Hollywood because she made confidence look fearless and unstoppable. She didn't just embrace her curves, she turned them into a signature pairing, a bold silhouette with high-level performance energy that feels athletic, commanding, and impossible to ignore. From the moment she broke into the mainstream, Megan's presence sparked non-stop conversation. Her stage moves, her unapologetic attitude, and the way she carried herself like she already owned the spotlight. What makes Megan stand out is that she never let the attention reduce her to one thing. She built her image around strength and self-possession, using music as the engine behind the hype. Her rise wasn't just viral, it was dominant. In 2021, she won multiple Grammy Awards, including Best New Artist, which cemented her as more than a trending name. She became proof that you can be glamorous, outspoken, and successful without shrinking yourself to fit anyone's comfort zone. But Megan's story also reflects the double edge of fame. The internet celebrates body confidence, yet it also places non-stop pressure on women to always look perfect, always perform, always stay camera ready. Megan's star power is partly why the discussion around her body became so intense, because she represents freedom for many fans, while others argue that pop culture still turns women into a visual product first. Megan didn't create that system, but she stepped into it like a fighter, refusing to be controlled by it. Her impact reaches beyond music. Megan became a symbol of modern self-love, especially for Black women who grew up watching the world critique their bodies. She made it cool to be loud about confidence, to be proud of curves, and to demand respect at the same time. The reason she stays talked about is simple. She didn't just have the spotlight, she learned how to direct it. And in a culture that always has something to say, Megan Thee Stallion proved that the loudest voice can still belong to the woman on stage. Lizzo. Lizzo became one of the most talked about women in Black Hollywood because she didn't just challenge beauty standards. She stood on them and rewrote the rules. Her curves have been part of the public conversation, yes, but what truly made her unforgettable is the confidence behind them. Lizzo turned the idea of being discussed into a form of control, showing that glamour isn't about size, it's about presence. Every time she hit a stage, a red carpet, or even a social media clip, she made it clear she wasn't asking for permission to feel beautiful. What separates Lizzo from the typical celebrity spotlight is how she connected body confidence to real talent. She's not just a performer, she's a musician with a sharp ear, a bold voice, and charisma that fills arenas. Her breakout success wasn't built on shock value, it was built on music people actually lived with. In 2020, she won multiple Grammy Awards, including Record of the Year for Truth Hurts, proving she could dominate mainstream attention with both sound and personality. When the cameras followed her, it wasn't only because of how she looked, it was because she was winning. At the same time, Lizzo's fame revealed something uncomfortable about pop culture. She became a symbol for millions who wanted to feel seen, yet she also attracted relentless judgment and commentary often harsher than what thinner stars face. The same culture that applauds body positivity can turn cruel in seconds, and Lizzo lived that contradiction in real time. She didn't create the obsession with women's bodies, but she exposed how loudly people react when a Black woman refuses to shrink herself for anyone. Lizzo's impact is bigger than a trending topic because she shifted the emotional tone of the conversation. She made confidence look joyful, not defensive. She made self-love feel loud, playful, and proud. And whether someone supported her or criticized her, the truth is that Lizzo forced the world to confront its own bias. In Black Hollywood, being talked about is nothing new, but Lizzo proved that being talked about doesn't mean being controlled. It can also mean being unbreakable. Saweetie. Saweetie became one of the most talked about women in Black Hollywood because she turned beauty curves and confidence into a polished brand that feels expensive and effortless. Her image is built like a spotlight, always camera-ready, always styled to perfection, and always designed to be remembered. Whether she's on a red carpet in a music video or posting a simple photo online. Saweetie knows how to make her body part of the conversation without ever looking like she's trying too hard. She doesn't just show up, she presents an era. What makes Saweetie stand out is how she blends it girl energy with hustle. She moved beyond being a rapper into becoming a full pop culture personality, fashion deals, beauty influence, viral moments, and the kind of internet presence that keeps people talking daily. Her curves became a headline, not because she chased controversy, but because she mastered the modern celebrity formula: clean visuals, bold confidence, and branding that feels premium. In an industry where attention fades fast, Saweetie learned how to stay discussed without needing a scandal. At the same time, her spotlight shows the double standard women face in entertainment. A woman can be praised for looking flawless, yet also judged for being too focused on looks. Saweetie lives inside that contradiction. She's celebrated for making beauty look powerful, but she also deals with the pressure of being compared, analyzed, and reduced to appearance. The internet can be brutal, and in her case, every outfit becomes a headline, every pose becomes debate, and every photo becomes a test of whether people think she still has it. Saweetie's real power is that she refuses to let the conversation control her. She uses it. She turns attention into opportunity, and she turns style into influence. In Black Hollywood, being talked about can be exhausting, but Saweetie makes it look like part of the game she already understands. Whether people love her music, her fashion, or just the aura she carries, one thing is undeniable: she didn't become visible by accident. She became visible by design. Doja Cat. Doja Cat became one of the most talked about women in Black Hollywood because she treats attention like a playground, and she knows exactly how to control the crowd. Her body, her curves, and her confidence are part of the conversation. But what truly keeps people locked in is her unpredictability. Doja doesn't give the public one version of herself. She switches aesthetics like outfits, going from glamorous and seductive to weird, bold, and almost theatrical in a heartbeat. That constant reinvention makes every appearance feel like a headline waiting to happen. What separates Doja from the typical sex symbol narrative is how she mixes appeal with artistry and humor. One moment she's delivering polished pop rap hooks that dominate playlists, and the next she's trolling the internet with a look that makes people argue for days. Her performances often feel like controlled chaos, sexy, creative, and slightly dangerous because she understands the modern era. If you can make people react, you can make them stay. That's why her image becomes so discussed, not just admired. She's not only being looked at, she's being analyzed. Doja Cat also exposes a deeper truth about celebrity culture. Fans say they want authenticity, but they still punish women who don't act likable all the time. Doja refuses to play sweet and safe. She'll embrace the gaze when it benefits her, then flip it and mock it when it gets too comfortable. That's why the conversation around her body can feel louder than usual, because she never lets the audience fully control the narrative. She challenges the idea that a woman has to be grateful just because she's being praised. Her impact reaches beyond music into fashion, internet culture, and the way younger artists build identity through visuals. Doja Cat shows that being talked about isn't always about pleasing people. It can be about keeping them guessing. In Black Hollywood, the spotlight often tries to trap women into one role, one image, one acceptable version. Doja's power is that she refuses the trap. She doesn't just own the spotlight. She bends it, breaks it, and rebuilds it in her own shape. Rihanna. Rihanna became one of the most talked about women in Black Hollywood because she mastered something bigger than beauty. She mastered presence. People have always praised her curves, her confidence, and the way she can make a simple walk look like a headline. But what keeps Rihanna in the conversation isn't just her silhouette, it's her aura. She carries a calm, unbothered power that makes the world look twice, and that kind of effortless dominance is exactly why her name stays linked to the most discussed bodies in pop culture. What makes Rihanna different is that she didn't let the spotlight reduce her to a look. She turned attention into an empire. In 2017, she launched Fenty Beauty, built on a message of inclusion and shade range that many brands had ignored for decades. That launch didn't just sell makeup, it shifted the industry's standard. And in 2021, Forbes officially reported Rihanna became a billionaire, estimating her net worth at $7 billion with Fenty Beauty as the major driver. That's why her influence hits differently when Rihanna's body is talked about. It's attached to ownership, not just admiration. Rihanna also represents a rare kind of freedom in celebrity culture. She can go from glamorous red carpet moments to disappearing from music for years and still dominate headlines when she reappears. That ability to stay powerful without constantly performing is its own kind of control. And while the internet will always obsess over her looks, Rihanna's story proves the real flex is building value that outlasts the trend cycle. Even major business news outlets have recently reported serious industry attention around Fenty Beauty's valuation and LVMH's stake. In the end, Rihanna's legacy shows why the most talked about isn't just about the body, it's about what the body represents. With Rihanna, the conversation is never only curves. It's confidence, independence, and a woman who turned the spotlight into a business plan. She didn't become iconic because people talked. People kept talking because she built a blueprint that Black Hollywood still follows. Beyoncé. Beyoncé has been the gold standard of Black Hollywood power for so long that people sometimes forget how much of the cultural conversation she helped shape. When the world talks about the most talked about bodies, her name stays in the mix because she made curves look like athletic greatness, not a gimmick. From the Destiny's Child era to her stadium tours, Beyoncé's silhouette became iconic because it was always paired with discipline, precise choreography, commanding stage presence, and a confidence that felt untouchable. She didn't chase attention. Attention chased her. What separates Beyoncé from everyone else is that her image was never the whole story. It was the entrance. The legacy is backed by numbers that can't be debated. In December 2024, the RIAA confirmed Beyoncé became the female artist with the most certified titles of all time, reaching 103 total certifications across her catalog. That kind of achievement proves she wasn't just admired, she was consumed by the culture for decades, era after era, without losing relevance. Beyoncé also represents something deeper than beauty. She's a symbol of control. She made the world celebrate Black femininity at its fullest, sexy, strong, elegant, and powerful, without asking for permission to be any of those things at once. And she kept evolving. By the 2025 Grammy Awards, she held 35 Grammy wins, making her the most awarded artist in Grammy history. Those are historic receipts, not fan exaggeration. At the end of the day, Beyoncé's place in this conversation isn't about being talked about for one feature, it's about what she turned that attention into a blueprint. She proved that Black women can be celebrated for their bodies and respected for their excellence at the same time. In Black Hollywood, that combination is rare. But Beyoncé didn't just survive the spotlight, she built a throne inside it. Serena Williams. Serena Williams became one of the most talked about women in Black Hollywood. Not because she chased the spotlight, but because her greatness forced the world to look. Her body, powerful, muscular, and unapologetically curvy, became a cultural conversation for decades, especially in a media world that often struggled to understand a Black woman built for dominance, not delicacy. Serena didn't fit the old stereotype of pretty athlete. She was strength, speed, and presence in one frame, and that made her both celebrated and unfairly judged at the same time. What separates Serena from everyone else is that her physicality was never just an aesthetic, it was her weapon. She holds 23 Grand Slam singles titles, the most in the Open era, a number that places her in rare air across all of sports history. She also won 7 Australian Open singles titles between 2003 and 2017, proving she wasn't a one-era star, she was a multi-generation champion. When people talked about Serena's body, they were often talking about what it could do. Explode into a serve, survive long rallies, and crush opponents under pressure. But Serena's fame also exposed a darker truth. Black women's bodies are praised, policed, and dissected more harshly than others. Even while breaking records, she dealt with commentary that had nothing to do with tennis, how she looked, how she dressed, how she carried herself. Serena didn't just win matches, she fought the culture while doing it. And the reason she became so discussed is that she refused to shrink, soften, or apologize to make anyone comfortable. In the end, Serena's legacy shows the real meaning behind the most talked about. It isn't about being a trend, it's about becoming unforgettable. Serena turned her body into proof of excellence, made strength beautiful, and forced Hollywood and sports media to face a reality they couldn't ignore. Black women can be powerful, glamorous, and dominant all at once, and the world will have to learn how to respect it. Chloe Bailey. Chloe Bailey became one of the most talked about women in Black Hollywood because she stepped into her solo era like a fearless transformation. She didn't just grow up in front of the public, she reinvented herself, going from the polished harmony of Chloe x Halle to a bold, hyper-confident image that made people debate her every move. Her curves, her fashion, and her unapologetic sensuality became a headline fast. But what really keeps her in the conversation is the fact that she performs like she means it. Chloe doesn't play subtle, she performs with intensity, precision, and a confidence that demands attention. What separates Chloe from many rising stars is how she blends classic R&B influence with modern shock factor. She can sing like a traditional vocalist, then turn around and deliver visuals that feel edgy, provocative, and intentionally disruptive. That contrast is exactly why her body and image become so talked about, because it's tied to a bigger question: is she pushing artistic freedom, or is she being pushed by an industry that rewards controversy? Chloe lives in the middle of that tension, and she rarely backs down from it. She also represents the modern reality of Black Hollywood fame. The internet is a non-stop judges' table. Every outfit becomes a trend. Every performance angle becomes an argument, and every photo becomes a think piece within minutes. Some fans celebrate her for owning her sexuality without shame. Others criticize her for being too much. But the truth is that split reaction is exactly what creates the headline, because Chloe's confidence forces the audience to reveal their comfort level with Black women expressing desire openly. Chloe Bailey's real power is that she refuses to be boxed in as the sweet one or the talented one. She's claiming the full package: beauty, voice, curves, and control. Whether people love her choices or question them, she's still doing something many artists never achieve: making the culture stop and pay attention. In Black Hollywood, being talked about can fade quickly, but Chloe's presence feels like a statement she's not here to be liked quietly. She's here to be remembered loudly. Halle Bailey. Halle Bailey became one of the most talked about women in Black Hollywood because she represents a rare kind of spotlight: soft, graceful, and powerful all at once. Unlike celebrities who chase shock value, Halle's attention comes from contrast. Her image feels elegant and almost innocent, yet she's growing into adulthood under the harsh microscope of the internet. That's why even simple photos, red carpet looks, or swimwear moments can become trending conversations. People don't just watch Halle, they react to what she symbolizes: a young Black star stepping into a space where beauty is celebrated but also constantly judged. What makes Halle unique is that her fame isn't built on her body alone. It's built on a major career milestone that changed how Hollywood sees Black women in leading roles. Her casting as Ariel in Disney's live-action The Little Mermaid made her a global name, and with that came a new level of scrutiny. Suddenly, everything from her style choices to her curves became a topic of debate, not because she forced the conversation, but because the world was already watching her too closely. Halle's beauty is talked about in a way that often feels like people are trying to define her before she defines herself. Halle also represents a bigger cultural moment: Black women being placed into iconic spaces where they were once excluded. That kind of visibility is powerful, but it comes with pressure. She has to balance artistry, public expectations, and the reality that fans often project their own opinions onto her choices. Some want her to stay the pure image forever. Others demand she be fearless and rebellious. And that push and pull is exactly why her appearance becomes discussed so intensely it reflects the audience's need to control the story. In the end, Halle Bailey is talked about because she's becoming a star in real time. She's not loud about it, but her presence is undeniable beauty, youth talent, and Black Hollywood spotlight colliding at once. The conversation around her body isn't just gossip. It's proof of how culture reacts when a black woman is both adored and evolving. Halle isn't just being seen, she's being watched grow, and that kind of visibility can be both a blessing and a burden. Coi Leray. Coi Leray became one of the most talked about women in Black Hollywood because she flipped the entire booty conversation on its head. In a culture that often celebrates only one type of curvy beauty, Coi walked in with a slimmer frame, sharp confidence, and a fearless attitude that made people talk even louder. Her body became a headline because it challenged expectations. Some praised her for being unapologetically herself, while others tried to criticize her for not fitting the industry's usual standard. But Coi didn't beg to be accepted. She made the culture adjust to her. What makes Coi stand out is how she turned internet debate into visibility. She's part of a generation where every photo sparks opinions and every performance becomes instant commentary. Coi embraced that reality instead of running from it. She used bold outfits, high-energy stage presence, and an "I don't care" mentality to keep her name trending, because in modern fame, staying talked about is almost as important as the music itself. And whether people loved her look or tried to clown it, she kept moving like someone who understood the game. Coi also represents the double standard black women face. If you're too curvy, they'll say, "You're doing the most," and if you're slim, they'll say, "You're missing something." It's the same pressure, just a different angle. Her confidence became the real statement, showing that the spotlight doesn't belong only to one body type. Kioai's presence forced a question that the culture doesn't like to answer. Why do people feel entitled to critique black women's bodies in the first place? In the end, Coi Leray stays talked about because she turned critique into fuel. She didn't become a trending name by trying to fit in. She became one by refusing to shrink her personality, even when the internet tried to shrink her confidence. In Black Hollywood, booty talk usually follows a predictable script, but Coi changed the tone. She proved that being discussed isn't always about meeting the standard. It can also be about breaking it and still walking like you own the room. Keke Palmer. Keke Palmer became one of the most talked about women in Black Hollywood because her appeal isn't built on one perfect image. It's built on personality, confidence, and star power that feels real. Keke has been in the public eye since she was a kid, but as she grew into adulthood, she showed the rare ability to evolve without losing her authenticity. When people talk about bodies in Black Hollywood, Keke's curves and glow-up get attention. But what truly makes her stand out is how she wears confidence, like armor, funny, fearless, and unbothered. What separates Keke from many celebrities is how she owns the spotlight without acting like she's trapped by it. She can go from comedy to drama hosting to acting and still command the room like she belongs there. Keke's looks become part of the conversation because she carries herself like a woman who understands her value. She doesn't chase approval, she brings energy, presence, and style that naturally pulls eyes toward her. And in an era where people are constantly comparing bodies online, Keke feels like someone who refuses to let comparisons define her. Keke also represents a modern version of Black Hollywood femininity, confident, outspoken, and layered. She can be glamorous, but she can also be goofy and relatable. That combination makes her talked about in a different way, less like an untouchable fantasy, more like a real star people feel connected to. She shows that a woman can be sexy without being silent, beautiful without being delicate, and famous without pretending she's perfect. That's why she resonates across generations, including older audiences who respect talent and younger fans who love the attitude. In the end, Keke Palmer's place in this conversation proves that the most powerful kind of attention isn't the one you beg for, it's the one you control. Her body may get discussed, but her voice, confidence, and personality always win the final scene. In Black Hollywood, trends come and go fast, but Keke feels like a lasting presence because she's more than a look. She's a full package and she knows it. Taraji P. Henson. Taraji P. Henson became one of the most talked about women in Black Hollywood because she carries the kind of grown woman confidence that can't be faked. She doesn't rely on shock moments or viral chaos. Her appeal comes from charisma, elegance, and the way she owns every room like she already knows she belongs there. Taraji's curves and silhouette have been admired for years, but what truly makes her stand out is that she pairs beauty with presence. When Taraji walks in, it's not just about what you see, it's about the energy she commands. What separates Taraji from the younger wave of talked-about celebs is that her spotlight was earned through consistency. She built a reputation as a powerhouse actress, delivering performances that stuck with audiences and made her a household name. Whether she's playing a sharp-tongued survivor, a woman fighting for respect, or a character with emotional depth, Taraji brings intensity that makes the camera fall in love with her. Her body may get discussed in fashion and red carpet moments, but her talent is what keeps the conversation alive long after the outfits are forgotten. Taraji also represents a deeper truth in Black Hollywood. Women are often expected to stay silent about unfair treatment, pay gaps, or industry politics, especially once they reach a certain level. Taraji has never been afraid to speak her mind. That honesty makes her even more talked about because it disrupts the smile and be grateful stereotype. She shows that Black women can be glamorous and outspoken at the same time, and that speaking up doesn't cancel your femininity, it reinforces it. In the end, Taraji P. Henson's place in this conversation isn't built on being trendy, it's built on being unforgettable. Her curves may catch attention, but her voice work ethic and fearless personality are what turn attention into respect. In a culture that loves to reduce women to appearances, Taraji stands as proof that the real power is when beauty is backed by substance and the world can't look away. Janelle Monáe. Janelle Monáe became one of the most talked about women in Black Hollywood because she made the conversation bigger than beauty. She made it about freedom. For years, Janelle was known for a sharp, tailored style that felt classic and untouchable, almost like a vintage movie star with a futuristic edge. Then she surprised the culture by stepping into a bolder, more sensual era, showing curves, confidence, and body celebration in a way that felt intentional, artistic, and fearless. When people talk about the most discussed bodies in Black Hollywood, Janelle's name belongs there because she didn't just reveal more, she revealed it with purpose. What separates Janelle from typical celebrity sex appeal is that she never lets the spotlight be shallow. Her image has always been connected to artistry, music that blends genres, visuals that feel cinematic, and performances that carry a message. When she embraces sensuality, it doesn't come off like she's chasing attention. It feels like she's claiming ownership over how she wants to be seen. That's why her body becomes talked about in a different way, not as gossip, but as a statement, almost like a protest against the boxes the industry tries to put Black women in. Janelle also represents a key shift in Black Hollywood, the moment when a woman stops being marketable and starts being uncontainable. She's praised for her confidence and individuality, but she also forces uncomfortable questions about double standards. If a Black woman is covered up, people label her safe. If she becomes bolder, people act shocked, like she broke a rule. Janelle exposed that contradiction by doing what she wanted anyway, reminding the world that a woman's body is not a public property, it's a personal choice. In the end, Janelle Monáe stays talked about because she refuses to be predictable. She made sensuality look intelligent, made confidence look cinematic, and proved that curves can be part of a bigger story, not the entire story. In Black Hollywood, the most powerful kind of attention is the kind you control. And Janelle doesn't just control the narrative, she rewrites it in her own language. Black Hollywood has always loved to talk, but when it comes to the most talked about bodies, the conversation gets even louder, messier, and more revealing. From Nicki Minaj's headline-making image, to Cardi B's fearless confidence, to Megan's unstoppable stage power, these women didn't just get attention, they learned how to control it. Yet, the real issue isn't their curves. It's the world's obsession with owning the narrative around Black women's bodies. So here's the question that divides everyone. Is this era finally empowering Black women to celebrate themselves? Or is it just a new, shinier version of the same old exploitation,